Conference. I'm Kim White with the My Sexy Business team.
I'm Coni Meyers with Crystalline Moments Success Movement and Crystalline Moments Publishing.
It is the famous Coni Meyers, I want to point out.
with the famous Kim White.
Infamous, you said.
Infamous.
But we are here, and we are so excited about this conference. This conference means a great deal to both of us and to all of our speakers. We have an amazing lineup of speakers. I'm still in awe that we have such impressive friends.
Oh, amen.
And one of those impressive little hotties that we hang out with is Miss Christi Garcia. She's a mom. She loves her family. Business is part of her life, but she's quick to tell you that's only part of it. She helps women with accountability to their dreams, and she helps strategize for business. She does all kinds of cool things. But my favorite part is she's a princess and sparkly like we are. So welcome, Christi.
Hi. Yes, there's never enough sparkle, Kim. Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure, and you two are such dolls.
Oh, thank you. We are excited to hear all about what's going on with you. I know you just had revamped your website so that it's even more sparkly, and you're doing amazing things up in the Big C. You're up in Canada.
Sure am. It's middle of the winter here, so we're actually on a Chinook right now, which is fabulous. Usually around right now we're in, minus 20. That's Celsius. Don't know Fahrenheit very well, but definitely cold and a lot of snow. So right now we're having a little break from that. So thanking for that.
Now, what's a Chinook?
A Chinook is. So I live about an hour from Banff, Alberta, so the Rocky Mountains. And so the winds come from the mountains and they give us this little relief for about a week, and they melt all of our snow, and it sometimes goes above zero, which right now it is. And it just gives us that little look into summer's coming at some point.
Okay, at some point.
And we wear our flip-flops and put on our shorts for that 1 week.
But I want to point out what you said and make sure I heard you right. It goes back to zero instead of minus degrees, and you're excited?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, we're wearing no jackets because we think it's hot. I'm like, oh, it's tropical. Do I need a vacation?
I love it. Well, we're going to tell you a true confession because you're like tougher than us. We'll just confess.
Yes.
Because we are in Miss Connie's, what she calls her she shed, and it's beautiful. I need to show everybody how pretty it is in here, but I'm telling you, we are hovering up under blankets and we have a heater. And
it's like about 60 degrees.
That's awesome.
We just want to make sure you know who you're hanging out with.
That's awesome. I need to come visit you.
Come on, anytime.
Anytime. You're more than welcome.
Well, I just appreciate you being willing to come on to the Hope to Hope conference. The Hope conference is about everybody goes through things. Some things are inflicted on us. Some things we inflict on ourselves by our choices. But things just happen in our lives. And one of the things that we always talk about in each session is something we've overcome or some point of vulnerability that is now a strength, for us. And you shared, and I have to be careful because I'm not going to cry and ruin my mascara for the session, but you said that you have not actually told this story before, but you were going to honor us with telling us something about your life on the Hope to Hope. So I'm in awe already.
Right. Me too.
Oh, thank you so much. This story definitely has not been told publicly, and I'm hoping I can keep it together and not shed those tears, but hoping you'll be patient with me if I do. I know that if even one person gets any kind of message out of this, I've done my job today. So I really do want to share this not so attractive story, but I do feel it comes out in a really good ending, so that's good. So
that is the point. The point is to show how we can come through things that happen to us.
Yeah, and even this morning, I wasn't sure I was going to share this story, and I watched the few speakers before me, and they really, really inspired me to share it. They were so inspirational, and they were amazing, amazing speakers, and they had so much to share that, I'm going to share the story.
I love it.
So I'll get on with it instead of procrastinating and holding myself back here. Fear does weird things to people. So when I was young, so I went to university. I had a normal upbringing. My parents, I'm blessed. They're still together. They're a huge support system. Amazing family, amazing siblings. It was really great. And I went to university and I got my degree. And then I met a man. And this man was, for some reason, I was attracted to this man. And I canoodled with him, and I then started some control issues in there, and what happened was I moved out, and I got out, and then I found out I was pregnant. And because I had a mom and a dad growing up, in my head, that's what I had to do. I had to give this baby the mom and dad, and so I went back. And that's really where it all started. And I had this amazing baby girl, and she is phenomenal, and she is 17 now, ready to start her own life. And I stayed, and it got progressively worse. It was, every day for that entire relationship, around 7 years, I was told I was too fat to be in the public view, and I was useless, and I had no sense in even talking to people, and I started, secluding myself from people. I didn't have friends anymore. I distanced myself from my amazing family to the point that I wasn't even seeing them, which really, also my daughter wasn't seeing them. It got to a point where it was controlled. Everything was controlled from, here's your gym membership, and this is what you need to do, and this is what you need to eat. And, if I had a sub that had mayonnaise on it, why are you having Subway with mayonnaise on it? Why did you choose white bread? I felt weak. I felt worthless. I felt like there was nothing I could do. I really just succumbed to this lifestyle that I had accepted and I had allowed myself to be in. I felt hideous. I felt like I was worth nothing. I was so remote and secluded from everything. Even my career, I kind of just stayed stagnant. I didn't want to bring attraction to myself. I didn't want, I'd just go to work. And that was really my only social circle. I blocked every support system I had in place. And that was really what tore me down. I had nobody even knowing what was going on because I blocked it all. I just sat there. Finding that courage to go and leave. I had tried so many times throughout the years, so many times, and I had, the fear in me that I would lose my daughter. The threats, he would take my daughter, I would never see her again, and I stayed and I stayed. And it's actually a really interesting way that I left, because we were sitting and having sub at Subway, and I brought this up before, and he looked at me and he said, "You're too fat to be eating bread, and you shouldn't be having white bread out of any breads, and definitely those sauces are just making you fatter by the moment." And that's when I got up, I took the keys and I left them there, and I went to get my daughter, and that was it. I had chosen to leave. Now, this is where the story gets really interesting, because you would think that that's it. She's gone and she's going to repair her life. Well, no, he wouldn't leave the house. And the court system wasn't on my side. They weren't making him leave. I had nowhere to go. I was still at a point where I didn't want to tell anybody. I didn't want to lose the house that I had, made sure we could get, and those things. And so for the next about 8 months, we were both living under the same house. And so the abuse got worse. And so now it was not just a mental game. Now it was physical abuse. My daughter had seen him throw me across the room, and called the cops on a couple occasions. And the most they would do is remove him from the house. Now, why, in myself now, why I didn't change the environment. I was scared. I was told if I left the house, I wouldn't have anything. I was told that if I left the house, he would get everything. And so finally, after all these months, and I had opened up now to my parents. So now mom had come and, sat us down and said, this is not okay. Look what you're doing. You need to leave. And he still wouldn't leave. So it just kind of went on and on like that for months. And finally, I got it. We kind of all grouped together, me and my support system, and we came to a point where it was, let's buy the house out. So I paid an extraordinary amount of money for my house now, but I own it. And he was forced out of the home. And, it's funny because I always thought that maybe the whole scenario that I just explained was the struggle. But that wasn't the struggle. It was after he was gone, I had a whole lot of repair to do. So he took everything, including the laundry soap. It's funny now, was not funny at the time. So started from scratch, zero. I had nothing. And this is where I realized, wow, okay, I'm only making X amount of money, and how am I going to pay the bills? How am I going to feed my child? And she had a very, she's an amazing dancer. And so dance was her love. That was also her outlet to deal with everything. So I could not take that away from her. So I had to figure out some ways to make that money. And I did. I made it work. I'm not sure at this point how I made it work, but I made it work. Dance is expensive. So really this is where that struggle went, and all that mental and emotional abuse was now coming full force at me. Everything I tried to take on, those thoughts were in my head, and it was a lot of self-work, work and self-love. I had my little girl that really she was my motivation. I wanted to show her that I could be a strong woman, and that is who she was going to become. So really worked on myself as I did some mindset work and some self-love. I started climbing the corporate ladder and, making more money. So I was doing those dance lessons and increasing them without hesitation, and it was great. So at that point, I'm trying to think back here now. I'm kind of all over the place. So basically,
you're doing great.
Thank you. I lost my mind there for a minute. I'm just going to wait. I had a few tears. I did okay. I think I got through the worst of it. So, So then it was, my mom and I started praying, and we weren't sure what we were praying for, but something was going to come into my life and just have a big impact. Well, little did I know, 2 years after all of this had kind of came to fruit, Mr. Amazing showed up. And Mr. Amazing, let me tell you, I met him in my hometown, which I never thought would happen. And this guy from day one, he was like, you're an angel. Like, you are the most beautiful woman I've ever met. And every day since that day, he has said the exact same thing to me. And he has treated my daughter like his own. And he brought me the biggest gift. He brought me his son. And, he is 2 years younger than my daughter. They are like brothers and sisters. And this boy came from a little bit of broken too. So the struggle began. We had custody issues with my daughter. We were in court systems and spent thousands and thousands of dollars just to protect her wants and her needs and her emotional well-being. And then, digging in and finding out more about my son, he had suffered a lot of mental and emotional abuse. Lots of drugs with his other parent, and there was just so much around him. So, he was 7 years old, and he's telling me how he's been sitting in parking lots waiting for drug deals to go down. And this is where I knew this is why you came to me. And so to fast forward, because really, we spent years working through these struggles as a strong couple, with both children, and now he just played Prince Eric in The Little Mermaid, and for a boy who couldn't look at anybody in the eye when he first came into my life, he is up there and he's a lead, and he is like, yeah. And it was a really, really emotional moment for me this past weekend, because I'm so proud of him and what he's overcome. Some other struggles in there I'm just going to mention was shortly after I left that abusive relationship, my daughter was diagnosed with heart issues and had to have open heart surgery. So, I just wanted to bring that up because it was not an easy road after. It was definitely, one thing after another. But the big thing here was I overcame all of it. And we overcame all of it as a family. And just have this amazing, amazing family now. And going back to what you said at the beginning of the call, where, yes, I have my business and that's amazing and it drives my passion and I'm able to serve women, my family is my number one. And that's something that is taking me a lot of years to overcome and realize that it's not all about work. And how blessed I am to have this family come together and really being given to me by God. And I know that he was the one that said, this is what you get. And it was such a present.
Oh my goodness.
What an incredible story. Thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, I'm sure that there's somebody out there listening right now that can completely relate to what you're saying and can see your strength and see, that just because you leave an abusive relationship doesn't mean that the struggle, that life is over, and you may have struggles along the way, but, God gives us those struggles so that then we can work through them, and then he gives us our gifts.
Well, I want to say that I first off, I just adore you. I'm going to say that because I love the fact that you will be transparent, and I know this is hard. And you already know I've been through a lot of what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. But the most awesome part is to be free of that and to be free to have a Mr. Amazing and to be able to let him in, because I think that's one of the things, too, that a lot of women who have been abused do not have the ability to let someone else in for a while, because it's going to be the same, that's one of the things that you feel. And so I know that you've left out some bits in there.
Definitely.
How difficult that is, but how amazing it is that he was patient enough to get you through that. And the health issues with your daughter. I mean, I saw pictures of your son and as Prince Eric, and I thought, oh my goodness, he's so adorable too. And that, we don't realize when we're in those abusive situations how much it impacts our children. We don't realize how much they're impacted for a very long time. We think we protect them. I can tell you, I thought my children didn't even know. I thought that I was hiding it so well from everyone and from them that they didn't know. And the truth was, they knew the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and if I had stayed, or if you had stayed, that would train our children that that's a right behavior. And for the same reason you talked about, I stayed. I was afraid I would lose my children, and I wasn't losing them for anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so I feel like the fact that you're being vulnerable and allowing other people to hear that, I hope that, like, the people that are hearing are understanding what a big deal it is to even tell that, because it's something that we're trained almost to keep it a secret.
Absolutely.
And act like everything's okay, because if we don't, I mean, there's dire consequences of if we tell.
Yes.
And so I'm so proud of you. I am so proud of the fact that you are willing to help other women to know that there's a way out. I can't imagine my life back then, now. Like, I can't imagine someone talking to me like that, or someone laying their hands on me, because I'm different, and I know you're different from that place. We do what we do better when we know better. You know, we do, and you are beautiful.
And that's what makes you who you are now. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Christi, we haven't met before, but my book is called Crystalline Moments, and crystalline means sparkly or clear. So in those moments when you decided to get up and take the keys, that was a huge crystalline moment, but there's always opportunity. And for you to be able to walk through all of the things you had to go through and the struggles, to financially as well as with your daughter, and is each one of those is leading us into something in our life that is a gift. And so now you've got this great family, you've got a great business, and you're helping other women. Just like, this is one of the things I admire most about Kim, is that she went through all those struggles. She lost her son, all those things, but now she is who she is. And those things were a very big part of why she is that way, why she is such a caring, loving person. And it really boils down to, we don't know why we're going through it at the time, but there's always a purpose. There's always a reason. And I applaud you for being open about it and being able to express it, because there's some woman right now being told that she's worthless and too fat, mm-hmm. and not afraid of losing her children, that this will give her courage to say, I can do this too.
I think that when we first met, you and I met, I think that I had told the story that basically ends with, you don't have to do that anymore. And I think that that is what you're telling us, is you found a way that you didn't have to do that, whatever that is. And, you know, there are people out there in different circumstances than maybe an abusive relationship. Maybe they're struggling with their business and doing something that is causing damage to their business, but they don't know how to get out of that cycle. Or so whatever your that is, it doesn't have to be what we've been through.
No, it can be
anything you're struggling with. But the good news is we're all here, you know, as proof that you don't have to do that anymore, whatever your that is. And, you know, the fact that you are willing to share that, and, you know, I think that you are absolutely beautiful. And I love that Mr. Amazing tells you every day, because every woman should hear that every day. Every woman should know that they're beautiful, because I don't care what you really look like on the outside as much as I care what's on the inside. And you are precious. You know, it blesses me that you not only are good to your family, but you also are teaching other women to put their family in the right place also. not work like crazy and then look up and say, oh my goodness, I have this grown child I don't even know. That's not a good way to live life. And so
now I have to ask you, after hearing this story, how did you come up with the name? It's Sparkle Biz.
Sparkle your biz.
Sparkle your biz. So now you've really got my curiosity up. So how did you come up with Sparkle your biz?
It's kind of funny. It's, you're looking for a name for your business and you're trying to make it applicable to what you do. And my Instagram name was Sweat Sparkle because I, like to work out and I like sparkle. So that's really what my Instagram name was. And so we're sitting there. And so first it was going to be Sweat Sparkle Coaching, but then I'm like, people are going to think that I'm a fitness coach, and that's not what I am. So, we're just throwing ideas. I'm like, well, sparkle has to come in. I mean, it's just who I am. Everything is sparkled and bedazzled. I mean, my husband thinks there's glitter everywhere. Right. So it just, it rolled off the tongue and it just stuck. It just stuck. I really just want women to sparkle their biz. I want them to be able to sparkle everything in their life. And I don't mean that really in a physical way, although I do think that there's a place for sparkle everywhere physically. But that's right. Like really, I could dip myself in glitter and that would be like my dream come true. However, yeah, so I just, I want women to sparkle at everything they do. And because business is my focus, that's where it came from. So, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your how do you get women to have a sparkly business?
Yeah, it all comes down to accountability. So we all have big dreams, whether it's in our business or our life. We have these things that are, you can make them happen somehow, but it's so overwhelming when you have all these daunting tasks to make it happen. So what I like to do and what my business is based on is setting these big goals with women and then breaking it out into smaller tasks that are doable in a week or 2 weeks time, rather than looking at the big picture of, boom, I want to be on a beach in 5 years and that's where I want to be, where really it takes so much more than that. There's such a progression to get there. So what I do is my coaching is based on holding you accountable. So here's the task that we've come up with, and really it's them that come up with it, and because they only know where they want to be. And so we draw that out, and then it's, hey, how did you do this week? It's midweek. These are your tasks. Have you done them? And really it's, just breaking it down into simple tasks and holding them accountable, and they have someone to answer to. And yeah, I did get, for me, let's just say my website. My website got done. Now what are you going to do, Christi? Right? It's somebody that's taking them through the steps that they already know is there, but all that family stuff and all those other commitments you have are coming into play. And so it's really about shaving out the time and making it not so overwhelming.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I love it. And, I love the fact that you use the word accountability, because a lot of people run from that word because, we don't want to tell anybody our failings, or, we don't want to confess that we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing, or, there's a lot of things that go with that word, but I love that you just boldly use it, because to me, it's actually one of our sexy vocabulary words. Because we understand if you don't have accountability at whatever level you are, if you don't have accountability, you're not really going to make it.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, we don't really hold ourselves accountable as much as we should. Like, we will let ourselves slide more than we should.
That's right.
I don't care who accountability.
Right. And, in the corporate, so, I made a big switch from corporate to owning my own business. And in corporate, you have due dates, the project needs to be done on time, on budget, and all of those permutations are put out for you. when you go into your own business, it's really easy to keep your pajamas on and drink that third cup of coffee and, oh, wait, Ellen's on TV. You know what? I'm going to take an hour because I can. I have the freedom because I own my own business. But at the end of the day, once Ellen's happened, and then you go for lunch, and then whatever it is, it's like, oh, that didn't get done. So to move your business forward, you really do need to keep yourself accountable. And sometimes that's just not possible. It is hard to keep ourselves accountable. So having that coach that's able to help you keep accountable really moves your business along in your goals.
Yes,
absolutely.
And I think that comes from someone who is accountable to someone. Like, I think that that's one of the things about coaching that I have watched, like this industry. And it's important because if someone who is talking about coaching you is not willing to be coached, they're not your coach.
Exactly.
Like run for the hills, because
that's right.
They don't really understand it. And when I mean, we've had conversations before today also, but the thing is that accountability is important. That thing of, and you know, you get the choice. I guess this is the kind of the irony of the situation is I'm asking you to be my accountability partner, so I have a choice in it, but there's something that drives me when I have to be accountable. If I know Wednesday we're going to have a conference call and I'm going to have to say, oh, well, I did have that extra coffee and stayed in my pajamas.
Right?
I'm staying in my pajamas because I don't want to tell you that. So there is a lot of like, magic. I mean, there's a lot of magic in accountability. I think accountability is one of the keys to success in every area of our life.
Oh, I totally agree. And I think that you have to have different accountability partners for different parts of your life.
Mm-hmm.
And those accountability partners will change over time. Mm-hmm. You may have somebody, like I have somebody that we've been accountability partners now for about 5 years. But that's somebody that I can, we each hold each other responsible. But then there might be somebody else that needs to come into my life to be accountable for something totally different.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really finding the right partners.
Absolutely.
So tell us about, because I want you to give us some tips in a minute, but I would like to hear, just tell us how you, like, there's a stranger contacts you and says, hey, I want to talk to you about this accountability coaching, this strategy plan that you put together. What would you say to them so that they kind of understand what it is they're even asking for? Because I think it's important, too, to have the right fit for who's contacting you. Because if they don't want to be accountable, and I'll just say this, if you don't want to do the work, I'm not your girl.
That's right.
I could vouch for that.
Funny.
I love that truth bomb.
Accountability here. Just saying.
Yeah.
I wanted to put me on the screen more than once to send me away. Actually, she had.
I love it. Yeah, so when somebody contacts me, I always get them to fill out a questionnaire. So that questionnaire really lets them come clear. And even the questionnaire is valuable because a lot of people, you're right, they're like, okay, I need to be accountable, but they don't know what they need to be accountable for. They haven't set those big goals. They haven't set, they're dreaming big, but they haven't turned them to goals yet. And so my questionnaire really asks, what kind of business do you have? Where are you at with your business? What are your main struggles in your business? What are you looking for in a coach? Because a lot of people have a misunderstanding that a coach is an advisor. And so there's quite a big difference there where I'm not going to tell you how to run your business because it's your business. You get to make it your own. You don't want me to because, well, it's not my business. Your passion is what's going to make it amazing. So, this questionnaire, and then we get on a discovery call. And on that discovery call, we talk a little bit about the questionnaire, and then we really dive deep into where the struggles are right now. So usually people have one or two really big struggles that they just are having a hard time getting through. So it may be, a technical aspect. So I do have quite a big social media background. So that I do attract a lot of people who are having struggles there. And so we talk about, is it actually the technical aspect, or is it fear of putting yourself out there? Those types of things. And then at the end of the discovery call, it's, are we a match? Because not everybody's a match, and I'm not everybody's flavor, and not everybody is my flavor. So it really does need to be a match. I don't want to, be in it for just money, because that's really not what it's about. It's about helping women get to their dreams, getting through their struggles, holding them accountable to their goals and their action tasks, and then celebrating their success. So that's a big thing that I also do on every client, is every little success. Every week it's, let's celebrate what you did do, not what you didn't, because that we'll revamp it and put it into you if it's still valid, right? If you didn't do it, it wasn't a priority. Perhaps it wasn't even supposed to be in the plan in the first place. Let's focus on what you did do. So did you get out of your pajamas and you were sitting at your desk and you did that nasty financial accounting stuff, or whatever it is? There is so many successes every week.
Yeah. And I love the fact that you celebrate, because, I went through quite a few years before I learned that lesson. I would get one task done and I would just move on and do another task and another task. And I'm burned out in a lot of ways, because I didn't stop to say, okay, this was amazing. Just the fact that you get, like you said, the financials done, that's a big deal.
And that needs to be, especially that needs to be celebrated, because when you celebrate that, you're putting out that the money is good, the money is coming, the money is flowing, the law of circulation is happening. And so, yeah, I think it's, no matter what it is, you need to celebrate those little. Nobody ever made it to the moon in just one shot. You have to do it in little steps, and those steps need to be recognized.
I like the graphic that I see it on Facebook all the time, and we've made some of them too, that people think success is this one straight line straight up. And then we laugh, because if you're an entrepreneur or a serial entrepreneur, it's like squiggle here, back up, turn around this way, and the other part is what your success looks like may not be what my success looks like. And we have this cookie cutter idea of what we think things should be like. And if you get a coach that thinks you should be them, that's a dangerous coach, because they're not taking you in the right direction. And I appreciate that about you, the fact that you even say out loud in this session that it's about them. It's about what they're called to do. You're called to help them. And I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, you're there to support them and make a difference and hold them accountable so that their vision and their dreams can come true.
So give us some tips on, like, what we could do to sparkle our biz this week. Like, just little things that we could do to make things better in the next week.
Yeah, I think my number one tip would be scheduling things. And the reason why I say that is it's so easy as an entrepreneur to become overwhelmed and then freezing and almost going under that blanket and just freezing, right? So I schedule everything, right from making the kids breakfast at 7 a.m. all the way till 10 o'clock at night, even my reading. I schedule every single hour, and I also leave a couple breaks because things come up. Life is life. So scheduling and blocking out those tasks. So once, set that goal, and it doesn't need to be sky high. Maybe your goal is to journal 3 times this week. That's achievable. So 3 times you're going to journal, and you schedule them in, and it's non-negotiable. It's not something that can be moved because, this came up, or I don't really feel like it, or there's a great new movie on Netflix. That it's non-negotiable when you put it in your schedule, unless there is a life or death situation or something that is absolutely out of your control that you have to do. Everything needs to be non-negotiable. From journaling, maybe it's a workout. Maybe you can commit yourself to really doing 2 workouts. Maybe 7 days a week is just not a possible thing for you. It's not realistic for you. Then schedule the 2 and make them non-negotiable. So that's my biggest tip, is just scheduling everything in. So, and then you'll realize that it really is only 24 hours in a day. Believe it or not, 24, and I've tried. There's no way to make more hours in the day. It is what it is. So yeah, using the hours, and then you'll realize maybe some of those things that you thought were a priority just might not be a priority for you that week. It really gives you a good perspective instead of flying day by day and not getting the things that you need to get done. And now you've done all these things that really probably weren't that important to you in the first place.
Exactly.
I think that people will spend a lifetime putting out fires. Like, instead of scheduling and honoring, and that's another part of that I think that's important to at least acknowledge, is that you must honor those non-negotiables, because the meeting with myself is just as important as the meeting with doing this conference. And that
gets forgotten a lot.
If I don't take it serious, that when I schedule something, even journaling, if I schedule that on my calendar, it has to be something major to take it off my calendar, or I'm not honoring, and I might as well not do it. I might as well not do the whole scheduling thing if I won't honor my word to myself.
That's right. And it's so important to reset, right? That's another tip that I would give, is take those moments to reset. So for me, I'll give an example. Every single hour on the hour for 5 minutes, I have something booked in my calendar that says reset. And what that means for me, and I just started doing this recently, is I get up, I stretch, I'm like, and then I drink water, and water resets everything that's going on, no matter how, instead of just going for 5 hours, and then I'm exhausted and I don't want to do anything for the rest of the day, including things with my kids. So if I take that reset, 5 minutes is all it takes every hour. For me, that's what I found my perfect equation. I just find I'm a better person. I'm energetic by the end of the day still. I have the whole evening. Yeah, that is something that definitely, I give it a try. It's awesome.
Well, we need to be more faithful to do that.
I actually, when I teach my mindfulness leadership classes and do the retreats, that's one of the things I talk about. And, people, I'll ask them after they've come. That's one of the things I always follow up on and go, are you taking I'll even tell them, take 1 minute, start with 1 minute, because so many people say, well, I just don't have time. 1 minute at 60 seconds.
That's right.
I think you could put a minute in. So congratulations on 5, because most people couldn't do that.
You know what? It's taken me a long time to get there.
We're actually working on it, and I think it's kind of funny. This is a behind the scenes thing, but if you get me started on something, the problem with me is I'll just keep going. And so this conference is 10 hours long each day for 4 days. Well, I will sit here 10 hours and never move if someone doesn't say, excuse me, you need a drink of water. Excuse me, you need to get up. And so we made last night, I guess it was, we made a deal that even if it's just getting up and walking around one time, we are going to get up between each session, because otherwise we end up crippled up at the end of the day, like you said, and so tired, and there's no reason for it.
No.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm gonna tell on Kim a little bit.
Oh,
Anyway.
great. I'm going to move over.
I can say this because she's about the same age as my children, so I can get by with this. Kim is an example, and actually, when I was her age, I was just like it, where she just doesn't stop. She doesn't take a minute, and her brain is constantly moving and constantly going. And I've observed her several times now, where I go, okay, Kim, you need to stop for just a minute. Let's just take a little break. And she'll get up and move around a little bit, and then pretty soon her brain's back there, and she hasn't really taken a break. So it's definitely a work in progress here.
Guilty as charged.
So I think you're giving wonderful advice.
Yes.
And now she's heard from another princess. So.
Princess accountability classes. That's what it is.
That's right. Us princesses have to stick together.
I agree. I totally agree. Did you have any more tips that you wanted to give?
Yeah, be confident. Believe in yourself. Rediscover that passion, and wake up every morning and be like, yeah, I'm a kick-ass girl. I'm going to sparkle today, and, manifest and bring that energy to you, and really believe in yourself. There's a reason why you are where you are. And if you have a business and you obviously have the passion to have brought it to fruit, and if you don't have a business yet, the passion's there. Go for it, believe in yourself, know that you're there for a reason, and say it to yourself out loud. I do every day. My family thinks sometimes I'm a little wild, but it's okay. I do. I chant it. Sometimes I do a little dance, but believe in yourself, be confident, and make your biz sparkle.
I love it.
Is she not related to me, though?
Oh, man. Oh, yes.
I love it. Well, and if you can't be confident in what you're doing, other people are not going to be confident in what you're doing.
Absolutely.
If you're not congruent with that, and going back to what you said earlier about overcoming it turns into self-talk. Like, we're abused and someone says things to us, and then we take what they say and we start saying it to ourselves. Like, we take over for the abuser. He's gone, or they're gone, but then we start doing it for them. We start, who do you think you are? You're not a size 2. We talked about this earlier. You're not a size 2, and you're not 20, and why should you be on TV, or why should you be on Facebook? Because you don't look the way you should look. And I laugh because I think one of the things that draws so many people to me is the fact that I'm not 20. I'm not a size 2. I'm not, this untouchable or unreachable position in life. I'm just like everybody else. I'm normal or common or whatever you want to call it. Now, I am a princess, but it's self-proclaimed. but the fact that we can relate to one another, and
I think when you're trying to be something you're not, all you're doing is destroying everything around you. Because if you're not authentic, and if you don't have a vision of who you are and be proud and confident about it, then nothing's going to be accomplished. It's a total waste of your energy and your time, and everything that you're trying to achieve is going to go out the window, because it all starts with really believing in yourself, being authentic, having a clear vision, and then stepping into it.
Well, can you tell us give us one awesome tip for changing the self-talk?
The more you do positive self-talk instead of that negative self-talk, the easier it becomes. So the first time I told myself I was a kick-ass boss lady, I think I laughed out loud after. It's like, whoa, take it back a notch. But as you say it over and over, day after day, you really do start believing it, and you know it, and it becomes easier. And, when you're doing that negative self-talk, because it still happens, it still creeps in, and you've got to go, no, that's not serving me right now. You need to leave that right now. The thought needs to leave. So I literally, sometimes out loud, say, go away. And that is just so important that when those thoughts, this morning I had that thought. I'm listening to the speakers and I'm like, all the thoughts that were coming in were, Christi, your story does not even compare to these stories. Christi, and I just kept saying, go away, go away, go away. So those negative thoughts, kibosh them, tell them to go away. They're not serving you a purpose, and replace them with those amazing self-talk of, you're awesome.
And it's kind of funny because we take that as a prideful thing to be confident or to talk that way to ourselves. But the truth is, if you think less of yourself, that's still pride. If you underestimate yourself, that's also pride. We don't think of it that way, but that's the truth. If we think less of or more than what we are, it's pride.
Exactly.
And so we're not serving in the capacity we're to serve. When we are doing that, we're teaching everybody else in the room to be uncomfortable. And I think one of the things that makes me sometimes the belle of the ball when I show up somewhere is the fact that they see I'm not perfect, and they see, this chunky little princess marching into the room, but that I'm happy and I'm good with who I am. And it gives everybody in the room permission to be good with who they are.
That's so strong, Kim. It really is. And just to interlude a little, you're always the belle of the ball, not sometimes. You're always the belle of the ball.
Well, we got to share that title when we were in Houston. We had so much fun. I was showing, so that everybody that's listening can understand, I was showing Miss Coni while we were getting ready to go live some of the fun pictures that Christi and I took, because we were doing this silly leg thing, and we were just princesses, and that's what you do when you're a princess. You be silly and you take selfies and
yes.
But it also gives, when we're having a good time like that, we're not being exclusive. We're not isolating anyone. We called everybody in the room over to do that with us. And I think that's the sweet part of that, is everybody was giggling and everybody was having a good time. And poor Roz, if you're listening, we get the leg thing right, but you're adorable just like you are.
Love you.
But that was so fun. Just being able to be who we really are. And it's okay that we can like ourselves now. It's okay if we're not what society thinks that we should be. If I'm on the cover of a magazine, it's not going to be because I'm in a swimsuit. I can tell you that. You're long gone.
Long gone.
But the coolest thing about that is how amazing it is when you can get connected with people like you to help you understand how to grow your business in a way that's congruent with who you are, not neglect your family, and have a great time. That's the thing. You are definitely my flavor. I'll just tell you that.
And you're mine, Kim.
Well, thank you so much for being on today. I put your website on there, but do you have anything else you want to tell that's available so that people can get connected with you?
I do have my one-on-one coaching package. I normally do a 12-week package, but I really just tailor it to the needs of the client and really what the struggles that they're going through. So it's not always a set structure unless that's what they want. It's really every client is so different and every woman has different struggles, different needs, different businesses. The only thing that's consistent is you need accountability and you need to be yourself. You need to be authentic. And so everything else I tailor. So just check it out, sparkleyourbiz.com. Also Sparkle Your Biz on Instagram and Facebook. And let's just even have a discovery call. And I would love to get to know you regardless. Yeah.
And see, I appreciate that also about you is that you're willing to take a chance to help someone before you even start cashing checks.
Absolutely.
That's leading with value is like what we teach, and I know you teach. And I think that is so important because, number one, you don't want someone who's not your flavor. You don't want to be disjointed. But you also have people in your life that you can send people to. I send a lot of people to other people. When my schedule's full, I don't want anybody to miss out. So I'll send them to someone who, I feel like is their flavor. And so I appreciate that about you, that you will do that. So if you are listening and you want to find out, and I'm telling you, she's an awesome flavor. That's the thing. You want to find out how Christi can, help you with your business and life in general and create some accountability, do get a hold of her. Her website's in the comments, but also, she's on Facebook, like she said, and just get connected. I think that's the biggest theme for this whole conference is get connected. These speakers are coming on and willing to give you access to them so that you can change your life because they've been through some things and they want to help you get through those things. So I hope you can join us, Christi, from 6 to 7 Central Time today. We're going to have where all the speakers today can come on and any questions anybody has for the day. So if you can join us, I understand you're super busy, but if you can join us, do. I'll send you a link.
Awesome.
So that you can get on with us. But thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
And I'm looking forward to connecting and having some more conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the conference and your day.
All right.
You too. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
And we'll be back at 1:30 for the 1:30 Central Time. Man, this time thing. 1:30 Central Time.
That's 11:30 Pacific time.
for the next speaker. And you won't want to miss out on the next one either, because it would be the one and only King Charles Smith.
King Charles is next?
King Charles is
awesome.
next.
I cannot wait to meet this man.
So come back and join us and you'll get to meet some more royalty. I love you guys. This is Kim White with the My Sexy Business Team.
This is Coni Meyers with the Crystalline Moment Success Movement and Publishing.
And we're at the Hope to Hope Conference. See you guys in a little bit.